Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Oh no! What's happening with the connection? Welcome back, everyone. Aaron is here. Welcome back for some more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Every day is a great day not to totally screw up the live stream as well. Okay, guys, what is going on? What is going on? There is a criminal case happening. Two gentlemen have been criminally charged with essentially stealing from John Travolta. It has to do with his airplane. It has to do with the refueling of his airplane and all this stuff. And the defense attorney for these two gentlemen is demanding to depose John Travolta and John Travolta's live-in boyfriend, Jimmy Marino. At least that's the implication, if you know what I'm saying. Let me share with you what has been reported on this. Okay, well, before I do that, I should probably get my screen share fixed. Oh my goodness, you guys. All right, here it is. Okay, this is from the Underground Bunker blog. Last year, two men who worked for Travolta and flew his planes for him were arrested and accused of overbilling Travolta almost $800,000 in airplane fuel. The two men, Jordan Corsi and Jean-Paul La Cruz Romero, were charged with organized fraud and grand theft, both felonies, and were released on bond. Both have pleaded not guilty to the charges. They hired attorney Joanne Barone, who filed a witness list for the defense that included Travolta and Jimmy Marino and asked to depose both of them. Jimmy Marino is John's special friend, who we first told you about in a story that we posted last year. Let me show you what was reported last year and all of the implications. John Travolta's special friend is really getting a taste of the good life. This is a fun story that John Travolta really doesn't want us to publish and has threatened people with lawsuits if we do. But we wanted to tell you about a couple of brothers named Mike and Jimmy Marino. Now, guys, the thing is, this article doesn't like try to specifically out anybody. There's just a lot of innuendo and implication. This whole article is about how Jimmy got introduced to John, how he became so close with John, how he basically moved in, how he was a friend of the family, an assistant, and all this stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of innuendo in here. And, you know, here's a nice, totally normal heterosexual photo that John and Jimmy took before the Oscars some time ago. Nothing wrong with that. There's no accusations being made there at all. Okay. And then there's some photos of a birthday party and Jimmy's face on a cake. And I mean, this is I have never seen a straighter group of men in a photograph in my life. I mean, I don't see what problem John would have with any of this. It's just four extremely aggressively straight heterosexual men. And it wouldn't matter if they weren't. I'm just saying I don't see what the problem is. Okay. So then here's Jimmy Marino playing bass over on the left, looking very, very happy, enjoying himself. And, you know, it notes here that being John Travolta's assistant and very close personal friend certainly has its perks. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay. So that was the story being referred to last year. Okay. So it says Jimmy is John's special friend who he told you about in his story last year, which described how Jimmy had been introduced to John while filming Gotti in 2016, and Jimmy became inseparable and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's see, because you'll see where this is going, because this anyway, I'll just keep reading. Okay. In a court filing, Barone, the defense attorney, explained that she wanted to depose both Travolta and Marino because her client was accused from stealing from Travolta's company, Constellation Productions, and Travolta was its only employee. I mean, that just makes sense, you guys. If you're accused of stealing from a company and that company has only one employee, deposing that person doesn't seem crazy. Or deposing the person who works most closely with and lives with that person, it doesn't seem totally crazy to me. Okay, since Travolta was the person the pilots were accused from stealing from, it seemed logical that he might have some info about the alleged crime. And that's why the defense wanted to depose him. Also, Barone pointed out that she wanted to depose Marino because he was intimately familiar with these trips and the sleeping arrangements. What a weird thing to put. Okay. Jimmy had his own personal bedroom at John's Ocala house and actually lives there full time. Okay. And then quoting from the filing, witness James Marino is Mr. Travolta's personal trainer and frequent traveling companion. That's interesting because Jimmy is also John's personal assistant. So he's the personal assistant, he's the personal trainer, but is he also the masseuse? That is what we don't know. I suspect that he is. Jimmy has a permanent bedroom assigned to him in Mr. Travolta's aviation residence in Ocala. And Mr. Marino can testify as to conversations regarding billing, texts between the pilots and third parties, as well as sleeping accommodations. Okay, let me see. And sleeping accommodations, as well as other material regarding witness bias and motive. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so Barone seemed to be making a pretty compelling argument that with Jimmy around all the time, he might know something that could be relevant to the criminal case. Well, after this request was made, the state attorney's office prosecuting the case freaked out. Assistant State Attorney Tucker John O'Neill filed a motion to strike with the court, asking to have Travolta and Marino removed from the case, arguing that Barone had only added them for the purpose of harassment, unnecessary inconvenience, and or invasion of privacy. What's interesting to me is that the state attorney seems to already know why it would be problematic to get both Jimmy and John in a deposition to discuss the sleeping arrangements in the house. I mean, okay. Let's see. So it goes on to ask, why would it be harassment to put John Travolta and Jimmy Marino under oath and ask them about their living arrangements at the house in Ocala? Okay. The assistant state attorney also asked the judge to consider the state's motion to strike in private. Barone responded by pointing out how unusual this was and totally suspicious. What was it about Travolta and Marino that had the state attorney's office so flustered that it wanted to argue keeping them out of the case behind closed doors? It goes on. Well, we've learned that just before the private hearing was scheduled to happen in the judge's chambers, the state attorney's office canceled it at the last minute without explaining why. It's been suggested that the prosecutors realized it was only going to bring even more attention to the case by fighting Barone on this point and decided to back down. Last week, Barone and her co-counsel made another move, filing a motion to dismiss the case because they say the state attorney has not complied with requests for more information about the alleged criminal acts and even such basic details like where they actually occurred. You know what? It just occurred to me to double check my audio. No, we're good. Okay. Let's see. La Cruz Romero is no doubt hoping that the motion to dismiss succeeds and that the case against him is thrown out. But if that does not happen, we're told that the defense still can depose Travolta and Marino, which the state was so opposed to. Okay. Very, very interesting. This does put John Travolta. Well, actually, it puts Travolta in an awkward spot, but I guess it does put the state attorney in an awkward spot. If they are not allowed to prevent Travolta and Jimmy Marino from being deposed, I guess the state would have to check with John to say, so John, what's more important to you? Pursuing the criminal case for this $800,000 of alleged theft, or protecting your privacy with regards to the nature of your relationship with Jimmy Marino. In my layman's opinion, I feel like the state attorney would defer to Travolta in this matter as far as whether to continue pursuing the case or not. What do you guys think? So, I gave a little bit of thought to this issue while preparing for this video of like, at this point, what is it that Travolta has to protect or to hide? It's pretty much the biggest open secret, not only in Hollywood, but also in Scientology, that Travolta is gay. It's literally why he's never been allowed to do all of Scientology's upper secret confidential levels, because of him being gay. Being gay is something Scientologists believe Scientology is supposed to cure you of. And so if you've done a certain number of Scientology's levels and you're still gay, it means the Scientology levels you've done have not completely worked. And therefore, you, of course, would never be allowed to continue on up with the higher level confidential, even higher level confidential levels. And it feels like this is the like a Lance Armstrong situation. Everyone was allowed to pretend that he wasn't doping as long as he himself didn't openly and publicly admit it. Even though everyone knew that he was doing it, everyone knew what was going on, everyone knew this. As long as he didn't admit it openly and publicly, everyone else could just pretend like it wasn't really happening. I think that's kind of the situation that John Travolta finds himself in with Scientology and this issue of being gay. Because keep in mind, guys, in Scientology, they have what they have their emotional chart. It's called the tone scale. And L. Ron Hubbard said that being gay is at 1.1 on Scientology's emotional chart. And that emotional level is called covert hostility. And L. Ron Hubbard said it was the most dangerous, that people at this level of the tone scale are the most dangerous people in society and are never to be trusted. And so I feel like John not wanting to publicly admit that he's gay, even though everybody knows it, isn't for his sake. It's more for Scientology's sake. It's more, you see what I'm saying? So Travolta's been in Scientology since the 70s. He's done a ton of Scientology auditing. He hasn't done all of their upper levels, as we just discussed. But it's like, if Scientology can't, and I'm saying this from the perspective of a Scientologist, because I don't believe any of this. If Scientology can't make John Travolta ungay, then it doesn't work. And yet John Travolta continues to publicly advocate and promote Scientology. In fact, for the most recent edition of the book Dianetics, the 75th anniversary edition of the book Dianetics, John Travolta has a personal endorsement of Dianetics and everything it's done for him in the cover page of the book. That's there forever now. So it's almost like John has to continue to pretend or hide this part of himself for Scientology's sake, not for his own sake. That's where I feel we are at presently with John Travolta and Scientology and this ridiculous charade that he continues to put on. Let's see. I thought I had one more. No, I think that's all I wanted to say on this. Let's look at some of the starred comments and we'll wrap it up for today. Kestrel 42. I hope it's true. Travolta deserves love. It is true. He just doesn't want to be deposed about it. Sharona, I hope it's true too, but Scientology will give him hell about this. Scientology has given him hell about this. It's why they've never let him do the upper levels. It's why Miscavige is not a fan of Travolta. Miscavige and Tom Cruise do not like John Travolta for this very reason, and also for Battlefield Earth. Okay. Jojo, probably avoiding being prosecuted for libel. Yes, I know. That's definitely why the blog post was written the way that it was written. Sean says, too bad the only thing that flopped was the movie. I feel like I should get the joke, even though I don't, but that's okay. Gray Duck. Is it weird to live with your employer full time? Even if you're a celebrity's personal assistant, it's weird to live with your employer full time. Julia O'Connell. Travolta is going to have to testify. Looks that way. Jojo, I wonder what's covered in his job description. Love Maddie. The only one who cares if John or gay or not is his church. The rest of us don't care, except how hypocritical his church is with treating its celebrity members so different than regular members. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay. Quinny Upstate. Is it Kentucky? Okay, Okay. Apparently the attorney's office is homophobic. What's wrong with being gay? Exactly. What's wrong with it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Angela Bobangela. Okay. If all they have on him is that he's gay, he might as well come out of the closet. He would be accepted. Yes. Good juju travels. Attention, dear John, get out of this stupid cult. Here's your exit plan. Indeed. All right, guys, that is it for me for tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me. This video is going to auto redirect to a special protest happening right now in downtown Clearwater outside of Scientology's Flag Land Base, where they're doing their CCHR Awards Gala. And Farrell Cheryl is there protesting, and she is live streaming. So this will redirect to her. If you go into that stream, tell her it's a room raid from Growing Up in Scientology. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.